barring some late game magic, the Guardians are not likely going to sweep the series in Texas, but they took 2 of 3 after a bad series in Chicago, and really perception is all about time. And we're going to get into some of that. When the Guardians' next no-hitter is going to be, because it's been a long time as of May 15th, 2024. We'll see if the rotation has taken some steps forward in the month of May. Guardians also have more home runs this year than they did this time last year. Does that make them a better offense? We'll get into that. And with Kyle Manzardo's early struggles, we will also get into whether there is a right time to promote a prospect or not. All on today's Lockdown Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show today. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. I want to cut off the negativity because here's the thing. They didn't get a sweep today. Would have been fun to get the second sweep of the year and get it against the Texas Rangers after last year. They got their second sweep of the year in September, August against the Rangers. Absolutely. This would have been great. But the bottom line here is they win another series. They've lost, 3 series all year, I believe. And if you keep winning series...
Yankees, White Sox,
and Astros, right?
Yes, the Astros. That's been it. No, they lost the Braves, too. I was 2 or 3
Braves,
the Braves.
Sorry, 4. So I forgot the Braves. That's trying to forget it. But here's the thing. You keep winning series as you make the postseason. You win your series in the postseason. You win the whole darn thing. That's what you're going for. This is the whole point of it. Hopefully, they'll keep everything going. Hopefully we'll see some of these young guys start to emerge. It'd be nice to see Manzardo get a hit here. That's where we are joining this one for those who like to react. It's sitting here with him.
And he struck out swinging instead. So there goes that.
Hey, you're ahead of me. You're ahead of me for once.
Well, I turned my TV off and I'm just following the Game Day app because we just both kind of knew this wasn't going the right direction, and we were also trying to cut off any internet issues. But it's been a good series overall. I mean, they got good starting pitching. The bullpen obviously was fantastic. They scored enough runs. Even though like yesterday they added on one late, which was good. The offense took some time to get on the roll on Monday's game. But, they scored 7 runs in back-to-back games. You're going to take that anytime you can. They scored 7 runs on Sunday. Everybody was mad. I mean, look, their play in Chicago was bad. They played poorly. There's no questioning that. I guess you have to wonder whether or not would they have played that bad against anybody? Like, again, this is all about timing, right? Like everyone, you're trying to play your best baseball every day, and that's just not going to happen in the course of 162 games. You're going to go through these lulls. It just so happened they played bad baseball against the White Sox, and I guess the question is whether or not did they let their guard down because it's the White Sox and they're bad. Like, we want to say no, but I guess people are human. We don't know. Or would they have played that poorly against anybody else? Because they didn't play this poor. They played well against the Rangers, and the Rangers are no doubt a better team. So, is it 6 of one, half dozen the other? That's why I said before, like, perception is all about timing. People might be upset they didn't get the sweep in this one, and they're likely going to get shut out, and that's a real bummer. But they took 2 of 3, and they scored 14 runs in the first 2 games. Like, again, if you go into every series and say, hey, the Guardians are going to win 2 or 3 games, they're going to score 14 runs over 3 games, everybody's going to say, yeah, that sounds great. But, if you get mad about the finale and the shutout, then you're overlooking the good stuff, and the good stuff outweighed the bad stuff. Like, that's why I said perception is all about timing.
Sorry, I was laughing there. I just like that I got a text alert about the Cavs remaining fond of their coach. It's just the weirdest phrasing. I'm fond of this guy. But here at the...
I'm fond of a lot of people that I don't want.
I don't know. The use of the word fond really made me laugh. I am not fond of this game, but Carrasco didn't pitch poorly. He had, Josh Naylor made, and it had just combined. Let's be honest. It took both of them to make that brilliant play earlier in the game. Offensively, it's been an ugly one, but again,
it's been bad.
It's been really bad. But Sandlin had his worst outing of the year. He's going to have one of those. He's been utterly unbelievable the rest of the year. But the rest of the pen stepped in. Everyone did their job. Most of this game the guys you needed to perform well. I'm expecting Florial to strike out here because it's not been good for him of late. But
No.
yeah, outside of the offense, I mean, it's 6 hits and 2 walks. That's 8 opportunities. That should be 2 runs. But they just, man, they're not putting anything together in this one. And
double play, it just hasn't. Again, it's all about timing. It's when you're with runners in scoring position
because they've got no extra base hits, so it has to be all timing. If you don't have any extra base hits, then you have to string it all together, and they haven't done that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's going to happen, and that's why I want to have the conversation about the Guardians hit more home runs this year. Does that? And Florial does strike out to end the game. So did Arias. So Guardians got a weird base hit from so that's game over.
Well, I'm not going to complete that sentence. That was almost bad. Sorry.
Anyway, so Carlos Carrasco did have a good game. I think, again, it's all about perception. I think the Guardians know where Carrasco's at because he was only at 75 pitches in 5 innings. You could have sent him out for the 6th inning, but again, they know what to expect out of Carlos Carrasco at this point, and you want to leave him feeling good, and you want to he's on a roll right now. He's arguably the 2nd best starter in the month of May. I would probably say, I guess 2nd based on results. Bybee has a better FIP in May than Carrasco, but Carrasco has the 2nd best ERA behind McKenzie. So it's all very weird. The rotation has been okay in the month of May. They haven't been great. They've been improved since April, but this is 3 starts in a row for Cookie that, he's had a good outing, and he limited the traffic in this one. He only had 1 walk, 5 hits. He scattered. The 4th inning was really the only inning he was in any kind of trouble. Came back in the 5th and was good, except for the 2-run homer, which, that was it. But if I had told you before the game, Jeff, that Carrasco's going to only give 2 runs in his start, you would have said, well, that's great because the offense should be able to score more than 2 runs. They just didn't. They didn't hit today. But Carrasco gave you enough to win, especially with this bullpen. And it didn't really matter what the bullpen did because the offense didn't show up. But I am cautiously optimistic about Carrasco's progression. He's got now an ERA just under 3, or just about 3 in the month of May, and that's 3 starts in a row. He's given up 3 runs or less.
Or is it just the teams he's faced? If we're doing the devil's advocate.
There was the Angels, yes. So the Angels,
the White Sox?
The White Sox stink.
And then
the Rangers don't stink.
Of late, though, the Rangers have been on a bad offensive stretch between Cleveland and this. We've seen them struggling, sending guys down,
it's all
and having
about
guys
timing
in the
when you catch
bullpen.
these guys.
So it's like, if I'm going to be devil's advocate, the other side of it is that this might be the easiest 3-game stretch he's had, or might even have, with the way. Look, Texas was not a world beater in this series, even against Cleveland's struggling starting pitching.
Yeah.
And they've got their own sets of issues and injuries that they're working through. It is positive. I think to me, the most positive aspect is the walk rate, because those early games with him nibbling was just too many guys on the bases.
3 walks in 3 games so far this month. That's he had 14 in the month of April. Yeah. No. I will say he does have total of 20 base runners on the month in 18 innings. But that puts him at a 111 whip.
I know he's hittable. We know that. That's not a surprise. A 37-year-old being hittable, I'm shocked.
Right. But if he cuts down on the free passes,
then you can live with it.
Yeah, you're going to get more starts like this where he's going 5 innings, he's giving up 2 runs, and they left him in the 7th inning the other day because he was pitching well. The defense hurt him, and they just needed the bullpen to catch a break because Logan Allen had a terrible start. And or I'm sorry, not Logan Allen, but the night before was a rough one for them. And he caught the Angels when they weren't good. And again, it's all about timing, right? When you're catching teams when they're not playing well, you hope to do good against them and get out of there before they do. And they heated up in this last game, and the offense caught a cold, or maybe couldn't hit a cold in this game. I don't know, but you have to look for positive. They won the series, and
bottom line,
you have to look for positive signs with Cookie, because let's be honest, this starting 5 right now is the starting 5 you're going to go with until Gavin Williams comes back. There is no replacing any of these guys. Like, I know Logan, like, people have looked at Logan Allen and they're like, oh, replace Logan Allen, or Carrasco, replace Carrasco. Like, there's no replacing any of these 5 guys right now.
You and I were talking about this. Xavier Curry has the worst FIP in the minors.
Yeah, he is really struggling in AAA right now.
Struggling.
I would have to look at the home road splits and see if Columbus, the ballpark, is hurting him at all. But the home run rate is really not great for him.
I mean,
and then there's nobody and there's nobody else in AAA to call up. Like Will Dion is struggling. Hunter Stanley's on the injured list, and he wasn't even an option before. Tyler Beatty is starting down there to try to give them an extra option. Cantillo's not back yet.
The biggest disappointment amongst the pitchers in the minors so far, just because I thought, maybe he'd find that even though he didn't have necessarily the stuff, it would be more successful, and it just hasn't been there. Oh, it's because I'll get Curry's
home road
splits data.
So Cantillo's not anywhere near back yet, and even Gavin Williams isn't near back yet. I mean, he threw a 50-pitch bullpen on Wednesday, and that was encouraging because he reported no pain. So he is going to throw a bullpen Friday, and then after that, I imagine then he gets to go on a rehab start. And so you're talking May 17th. If he goes on a rehab start next week, you're probably looking at like the mid-June, like a month from now. So we're talking the second week of June for Williams. This is your starting five for the next month. And they have improved as a staff in the month of May, and their ERA is 3.99 in the month of May, not including today's game. That's down from 4.17, so it's not down that much, but it's down. And they're on track to pitch more innings in the month of May than they did April. So those are both good signs. But this is who you have for the next month or so in the rotation. And with Carrasco, if you have to pull him after 5 innings because he pitched well, so be it. But that means you got to have guys like Tanner Bybee step up, and you got to have Tristan McKenzie step up. And Tristan McKenzie he's been better in the month of May. So that's an encouraging sign. And he's going to pitch this weekend. Bybee's last start was pretty good against the Rangers. He'll just need to put 2 in a row together. Logan Allen has to get it going here soon, because really, if you want to look at the rotation, Logan Allen is kind of the problem child right now. He had a good start against the White Sox, so I'm not going to be too negative on him, even though the White Sox are not good, but that's what you're supposed to do. So we'll take it. All right, so we talked about the rotation a little bit. And May 15th, it's been 43 years since Len Barker's perfect game. The Guardians haven't even had a no-hitter since. So we're going to have a quick debate about whether or not who is going to be the next person to throw a no-hitter, because I feel like this conversation's been going on forever, and the answers have changed, and it seems like it's never going to happen. And then we'll also talk about if the Guardians are a better offense this year just because they're hitting more home runs, and we'll have a discussion about whether or not there is a right time to promote a player from the minors, all coming up on the rest of today's Locked On Guardians. Well, as Jeff always says, we're not supposed to have favorite sponsors, but I can't help enjoy Game Time because you guys know I use this app all the time. There are some other sites that had their concert, or they had their special ticket package weeks last week if you wanted to get them for a lower price. Really, the Game Time app is what I'm looking for. I did check out some of those prices, and I decided I'm going to wait. I want to see the Black Keys later this year in Cleveland. And my wife and I decided we're going to wait to use the Game Time app and on the day of, because they have last-minute ticket deals, flash deals, zone deals, and they have tickets to everything, even if it's comedy shows, your Cavs tickets for September, not the playoffs. Sorry to bring the mood down for that one. And they have the lowest price guarantee, because you can get 110% of the difference if you find the same ticket in the same row for less. And I love the view too. You can get a view from your seat before you're buying the ticket, so you know what your tickets look like as well. So Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying. You can wait till the last minute if you want. Buy those NBA tickets, buy those concert tickets at the last minute. Don't stress about it. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON, COLLEGE, all caps, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. And you can check out, the Guardians are actually off today as you're listening to this, but Friday they are back home against the Twins. You can check out all the action on your Sirius XM app. Just search Guardians. All right, Jeff, 43 years ago on I
wasn't alive yet.
I was not alive either. I was at the game. I was there. I wasn't alive, but I was there, because that's the joke among a lot of people from that generation, is that everyone was at the game, even though nobody was at the game, because it's nobody was there because nobody was going to those games. But man, I feel like every year at some point someone has this discussion. We did this all throughout the Kluber years and when Carrasco was good and other guys in this rotation.
And I remember when Charles Nagy was close. When I was a teenager,
Kluber, Carrasco, and Cody Anderson got close in 2015, all in the same year. Who is going to be the next? Who is going to throw the next no-hitter or perfect game for Cleveland? Is anybody on this current staff going to do it?
Daniel Espino.
That's going to be awfully hard to do without a right shoulder, but sure.
I'm donating mine.
Is that really helping or hurting?
No, it's hurting. It's probably. I mean, I've never had any shoulder issues. It's clean. It's doesn't have overuse unless it's like I was a soccer player more than a baseball player for most of my life, so it doesn't have the muscle build you maybe want up there. My legs are good, but
eventually then for a guy doing that.
He's got the best stuff to do it. Like honestly, if someone's gonna do it, he's the guy. If he can get healthy, like that's the guy who. It's a joke, but it's not a joke. Like, because
there really is nobody else. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess we want to say Bybee's the ace, so maybe Bybee. McKenzie got really close to 1 year against Detroit. Remember, I think he took a no-no or a perfect game into the 8th inning.
Remember when Plesac got close against Seattle? Like, it's gonna be somebody random. Like Plesac went.
That's true.
Deep in
there have been those random ones. Who was the guy in the White Sox that had one and he was like out of baseball the next year? Philip Humber had one for the White Sox and he was out of baseball by the next year. Like it does happen.
Irvin Santana no hit the Guardians.
The Yankees pitcher Domingo Germán, like I don't think he's on a team or he's in AAA. Like he had one and he's out of baseball or whatever. So it does happen randomly. So I don't know. Ben Lively no hitter, right?
He's the ace right now. So why not?
Not based on the numbers in the month of May, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and predict it's not going to happen in 2024. I'm going to say that
with the way we have done with predictions, I think I should go.
It might happen. Yeah,
it's almost guaranteed if we say it's not.
Yeah, so go and bet on that on FanDuel when we get to that. See what the odds of a no hitter are. All right, Jeff. The Guardians have 43 home runs this year. I believe. Is that what I looked at last?
43 years and 43 home runs. We're some nice synergy.
46 home runs. They have 46 home runs this year.
So not nice synergy.
That is not nice synergy. No. Last year at this time, though, they had, I believe, 23. Let me see if I have that right. 23.
Sounds about right. They were like awful a year.
Yeah, they've played 4 more games, but they had double the home runs in 4, even though it's 4 more games. Does that make the Guardians' offense better just because they've hit more home runs this year?
It doesn't make them better just because they've hit more home runs. It makes them better because how bad the offense was a year ago. More home runs, like by itself, does not imply betterness, but it definitely is I don't know if I want to say a symptom. It's a sign that they are doing a lot of things better overall. So I think it is. Yeah. I mean, I don't have any doubt that it's a better offense. Scoring 7 runs felt like an impossibility last year. And we just had a stretch where they had multiple games in a row where that happened.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, they were pretty much towards the bottom last year in home runs overall. They were at this time last year, they were dead last in baseball and homers. The walk rate was
bad in just about every category.
The one area last year they were better at that they are not this year is walk rate. This year, the walk rate.
And they were bad at it last year.
Yeah, and it was actually through the month of May last year, it was almost 10%.
Was Zanino walk, right? That's like the one guy.
Bell was the guy who walked.
Yeah.
So the Guardians only scored 142 runs through 40 games last year. This year, through 43 games, 44, I guess, after the loss, it is at 209. So it's almost a 60 run improvement. They're still 6th in the league in runs scored overall at this time last year. In terms of offense, they were 28th. So I would say the offense is better. It would just be great to get that walk rate. Like ironically, that the walk rate was almost 2% higher than it was a year ago. The Guardians could be like a top 3 offense this year if they had last year's walk rate, which is really ironic. But that's because Bo Naylor has essentially given you the same Offense is Mike Zunino a year ago, which is troubling to say in a lot of ways. So your catcher offense hasn't improved really all that much in a year, which we were banking on.
And
but
your
hopefully
defense hasn't really improved either. Unfortunately, it's both aspects.
It is not. And last year, Quan was petering league average, right? Remember he was struggling early on.
He's been awesome. Jose has had his struggles, and
both years, yeah.
And I mean, Naylor's been pretty consistent. Though the thing a year ago was he started out rough.
He was really
bad luck.
75 WRC plus. Yeah.
So that's one of the big shifts as well.
Ironically, Tyler Freeman 93 WRC plus. Miles Straw 69. So I guess Tyler Freeman is.
It's this is
better.
I know it's more than slightly, but it's just the funniness of early season stats. Like he was below Miles Straw before the Texas series. He has a good series or two, then a bad series or two, and that's part of being a young guy. It's hopefully we'll see some consistency. He had a nice defensive play tonight. It's just in him walking again. That is what we need him to do.
That ironic that. Right now, his WRC plus is 93, which is good. He's hitting $193. Ironically, it's his walk rate that is holding up his value.
Yeah,
like that's not something you or I ever thought we would say about Tyler Freeman. Was his walk rate is holding up his offensive value, so that gives him a little bit of a floor, which is good. Will Brennan has seen improvements. I mean, he's in a 92 WRC plus as of Wednesday. Last year it was 41, so he has come a long way in the last year. Shortstop essentially has, I hate to say it, offensively, it's taken a step back. Arias and Rocchio both have a 74 WRC plus, and they've both contributed next to nothing offensively. And Med Rosario, at this time a year ago, for all of his struggles, was in an 85. It's at 11 points, so maybe it doesn't matter because they're both below average.
And it's interesting because you got Rocchio, who's completely balanced out by walks and getting on base, and you have Arias, who's there because he's actually put a little bit of a charge into it and been able to occasionally get some extra base hits. So they're doing different things to be the same level of non-production.
Yeah, you struggled through Oscar Gonzalez last year, but through May, and he was terrible. Sadly enough, Ramon Laureano was an improvement over that. So who else was in the outfield?
It's a better offense, and there's more hope. There's more hope with young players and some of the vets that were failing. So I don't know, maybe I'm being too positive, but it's I still think that there's a chance that it's going well, and I think it's just going to get better. Manzardo, I believe in him. He's going to turn around.
Mm-hmm.
Rocchio, I think, has a chance to be a league average bat. Freeman, if he can just become league average, all those things. Yeah, maybe it's asking a lot, but there's so much potential in there. So I'm still a believer. I'm still buying in.
Cue that. I wish we had the music from, was it the Monkees who sang "I'm a Believer"?
Yeah.
By just saying that, we're going to get a copyright infringement on that.
I wouldn't leave her if I cried, right? That's that the next thing.
I don't know. Yeah, so the offense is better than a year ago. We agree on that, and I think it could get better by way of just moving some guys around or just seeing some improvements. It's only May. Some of these guys are still getting the first full-time gigs of their career for the most part. So yeah, the offense is better. Talking about Kyle Manzardo, he was playing fairly well at AAA when he was called up, and he's hit the ground, and it's been a tough one for him. So we're going to talk about whether or not there is a right time to promote a player from the minor leagues. Oh, wow, just going to blow our whole segment before I even get there. All right, stick around for that coming up on Locked On Guardians.
So I was checking out our friends at FanDuel, and Cleveland still is number 2 in the AL Central at plus 165 to the Twins, plus 120. I'm recommending you take the Chicago White Sox at plus 50,000. And think about it. If every other team has a horrific accident, that's plus 50,000.
Setting money on fire.
You're saying that's not the way to go. Is I shouldn't take out all of my savings and put on the Chicago White Sox to win the division. That's a poor bet.
Win the lottery after.
Tonight, for instance, the Texas and Cleveland game had a 30% profit booster. So there's all sorts of things going on with our friends over at FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 bucks to spend on spreads, money lines, and more. Visit FanDuel/Locked On and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Guardians off on Thursday, back in action on Friday, hosting the Twins. It's the debut of the City Connects. I'm excited for that. And even though you can't see the City Connects on your Sirius XM app, you can certainly listen to them.
A lot of excitement about your hat yesterday, and then you're not wearing it today.
Yeah. I wore my City Connect hat. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. Let's see if the Guardians can't have a good record in those jerseys, even though that means absolutely nothing. But Kyle Manzardo off to a pretty slow start. I think did he have 2 hits in this game on Friday, on Wednesday? I'm really getting out of myself.
No,
he had one
Manzardo, he had 1 hit, yeah, because he struck out when he had the opportunity for a second hit.
Well, it's been a tough go for him, and I was kind of looking to see, like, okay, what rookies so far this year are doing pretty good? And you've got, Wenzel Perez from the Tigers. It's only 25 games, so it's kind of early for him. Yeah. Somehow Davis Schneider is still considered a rookie, even though he was at most of last year.
Isn't he like 45?
Sure. Yeah, he's like, Weiler Abreu is off to a great start. Yeah. We both liked him. Colton Cowser. Did Colton Cowser make his debut a year ago? Did he come up in 2023?
I thought he came up a year ago. See, I'm just getting confused with Colton Cowser. In my,
he had 77 plate appearances last year.
In my OOTP game, I just recently started over, and he is like an MVP candidate yearly. So I'm like, is that in real life or is that in the game? And he's having a good year. But
so 17 qualified rookies right now have a WRC plus of above 100. And honestly, Jeff, none of them are really top prospects. Like, for the most part, you have Wenzel Perez, Davis Schneider at the top. Weiler Abreu wasn't really a hot prospect. Colton Cowser was. Yeah. Joey Ortiz is off to a good start with Milwaukee. Somehow Corey Lee is a rookie. I can't believe Corey Lee is a rookie. He's at 124, but he's only played 28 games. You've got Blaze Alexander, who wasn't a highly touted prospect. Michael Busch was. He's off to a good start. Andy Pages was a touted prospect. Tyler Fitzgerald was not. Jackson Merrill, obviously a top prospect. Max Schumann from Michigan. Didn't know about him until
Eastern Michigan
a few weeks ago.
Eastern Michigan.
Well, yeah. he's born in the state of Michigan too.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the college.
Yeah,
he's a MAC kid.
Yeah, he's a MAC kid, and he was born in Michigan. Ivan Herrera, who's taking over for Wilson Contreras because he's hurt. Austin Shenton is 15th. Mason Wynn is 16th.
Austin Shenton, former Guardians draft pick, by the way.
Okay. Mason Wynn is 16th, who really isn't known for his bat. Evan Carter, who has actually been hurt and has really struggled this year. He's in the 103 because of walks. Like, this list of guys who are over 100 WRC plus offensively for rookies is really not a who's who of top prospects. Like, the only guys on here I can count are Colton Cowser, Michael Busch, Andy Pages, Jackson Merrill.
Who are like top 100 guys. Like,
yeah.
Austin,
Evan Carter, Mason Wynn. I don't know if Mason was a top 100 guy because
he was. A lot of it was defense.
So you got 6 out of this top 17 guys that were like hyped prospects. You've got guys like Austin Martin who are struggling. But the thing I see is a lot of these guys on this list, besides like Perez and Ortiz, most of these guys had debuts a year ago. Busch was up a little bit last year, wasn't he, for the Dodgers before he got traded?
He was up and down a bit. Yeah. So all these guys kind of go up for a bit.
Yeah. I feel like most of this list, these guys, took some bumps and bruises a year ago and now they're good. So there is no right time to promote a prospect. I think at this point, because of how big the gap is between the major leagues and AAA, is that you're going to promote guys and they're mostly going to take their lumps early on. Like, Wenzel Perez off to a great start. I don't think either of us think that's going to continue. He's got a 382 BABIP, so I don't think that's going to continue. But I think you just like Wyatt Langford. Wyatt Langford's got a 68 WRC plus. He was probably the most hyped prospect in spring training.
Yeah, him or Jackson Holiday, who also,
stunk. Right.
Stunk.
I don't think the Guardians in the past, like I said before, have studied this. They've studied when to bring guys up and when is the right time to bring them up. They tried to do qualitative studies on that. And I think the gap between AAA and the majors is so big anymore that there's no right time. You bring these guys up and you just want to let them take their lumps, honestly, and hope it's not so bad. You have to send them back down. Hopefully they can play through it and then get through it. But I kind of wonder now, if the better method is to bring some of these guys up like in September when they can still retain rookie eligibility for next year based on the PPI program and take their lumps late in the year and then come back next year and be better for it.
I think it is. I don't know if Cleveland's ever going to do it, though, because it also then sets them up for service time.
Service time, right.
It's the double-edged sword when you're a small market. I do think it helps. I mean, getting exposure. Look at Gunnar Henderson, who won the Rookie of the Year, right? Like, he was essentially at maximum amount of
He made his debut against Cleveland and took Shane Bieber. He went the first pitch he saw.
But he had almost maximum amount of time, and then they sent him down. He maintained rookie status, and he got him an extra draft pick, which they held on to that one. Or is that the one they could trade that one? And maybe
no,
I think they
can't trade that one.
You can't trade that one. So they trade the competitive balance
mm-hmm.
pick, but they still, I mean, they played it perfectly.
Yeah, I just don't think there's a right time anymore. I mean, ideally the case always was you want to bring him up when they're doing good in the minors, and sometimes you don't always get that choice. Like they brought up Manzardo, and he was doing fine. I wouldn't say he was great, but at least based on like that week. Overall, the numbers you're going to look up and you're going to say, wow, the numbers were great. It was just like that particular week they brought him up. He wasn't like on fire. But yeah, sometimes you don't have a choice. Like Kwan was on the IL and he was the next best option to come up offensively. You weren't going to bring up,
and he was hitting well at the time.
He was hitting, overall the numbers were pretty good. So there no arguments about bringing him up when you did, but anymore, I think when you bring these guys up, the expectation is they're going to struggle. Like that's just the expectation anymore. You don't expect these guys to come up and hit the ground running. I mean, John Gray, I think we both agree John Gray is probably like a mid-rotation guy, right? Like he's a number 3. There are no John Grays in AAA. You're not facing John Gray in AAA.
You're facing sevens.
You're facing Will Dion's and Xavier Curry's and Peter Strzelzecki's and Adam Ollers. Like those are who you're facing in AAA. So yeah, you're going to crush those dudes. It's going to take time for these guys to come up and hit the John Grays of the world and, dear God, have to hit Pablo Lopez or something. Like it's going to take time. So I'm not worried about Manzardo at all, but I think the overall arching theme here is like, there's no right time. So when they get to the idea about bringing up a Valera or Jonathan Rodriguez, or, if it's Daniel Schneemann or whoever they bring up, there's no right time. You just got to get the answer on these guys and let them take their lumps.
Yep. No. And, speaking of taking our lumps, we better take our time. Well, I guess we got a little bit of space. I want to throw one other thing out there. Everyone was, 2 things. Everyone was talking about trading relievers. The one thing I'll say is you can't make your team weaker for the possibility that someone's going to be successful. Like if they trade someone, and then the one thing is if you're trading a reliever, it's to a team that's good. They're not trading you current pieces. They're trading you prospects, and you're stuck in the same loop. They want to
get better too.
Right? So you're stuck in the same loop we just talked about. So that is the danger with it. I agree. It is what they have. But we're going to do a mailbag tomorrow. So since there's no game, so if you have questions, take advantage of it. This is your chance to ask about those trades, to talk about the draft.
Be part of the show.
Be part of the show. Have your name pop up in there. Be one of our many everydayers. We thank all of you who join us every single day, win, lose, or draw. We know that it's always harder after a loss, but thank you for showing up and showing up strong. And speaking of that,
Pablo Lopez this week, by the way. So the Guardians offense gets a little break.
Yep. And make sure you have clicked the little alert button and done all that stuff. Rate and review, download. It helps. And go Guardians, go.